A warm welcome to everybody. Today we are going to discuss about vacation involvement and its management. I am Dr. T.B. Meenalochini, Assistant Professor from the Department of Periodontology, Vinayaga Mission Sankaracharya Dental College. Periodontal disease is a complex disease which is characterized by soft tissue loss, which gradually invades the furcation area, mainly the bifurcation and trifurcation areas of the molars. This is called as furcation involvement. This furcation can be defined as a complex area with a complex anatomic morphology that is difficult or impossible to be debrided by the routine periodontal instrumentation like scaling and root planing. So what are the anatomical considerations which has its importance in the furcation involvement? They are root trunk, furcation entrance, root surface anatomy, cervical enamel projections, accessory canals, and many other. Now let us see what is root trunk. Root trunk represents the undivided region of the root. It is mainly the distance between the cemento-enamel junction and the separation line between the two root cones. So this is called as height of the root trunk. In this picture, you can see the area between the cemento-enamel junction and the root apex is called as root complex. And the region between the cemento-enamel junction and the undivided portion of the root is called as root trunk. The probe we mostly use in measuring the furcation is called as Neighbors probe. What is furcation entrance and cervical enamel projections? Furcation entrance is the transitional path between the divided and the undivided portion of the root. That is called as furcation entrance. And the roof of the furcation entrance is called as fornix. Do you know what is cervical enamel projections? They are the enamel projections seen over the furcation area, which makes the furcation area more complex. So that tends to accumulate the plaque, leading to periodontal disease. Enamel pearls are mostly common in the maxillary second molar regions. Mainly in the bifurcation area, it is more common in the maxillary molars. Root concavities. The concave structure of the root is called as root concavities, which is mostly seen in the mesial root of the mandibular molars. In maxillary molars, it is seen mostly in the mesiobuccal root, but it is more common in the mandibular molars. What could be the etiology of this furcation involvement? Mainly the bacterial plaque which accumulates over a period of time, which mineralizes, converts into calculus, and leads to periodontal disease eventually. And the local anatomical factors like root concavities or cervical root trunk length. All these are the local anatomical factors which favors the furcation involvement. And also local developmental anomalies like enamel pearls, cervical enamel projections, they also leads to furcation involvement. Dental caries, trauma from occlusion, vertical root fractures, iatrogenic factors, which are the physician-induced factors. All these leads to furcation involvement. Now we are going to see about the classification. There are so many classifications for the furcation involvement, mainly the involving the horizontal component and the vertical component. But the most important and the famous classification is Glickman's classification, which was given in 1953 by Glickman. So he has classified furcation into 4 types: grade 1, 2, 3, and 4, based on the severity and the vertical component of the furcation. So now let us see what is grade 1 furcation involvement. These are the incipient or early or initial lesion. So the pocket is suprabony here. There is no infrabony defect. There is no advanced lesions here. There is only soft tissue involvement. There is a slight bone loss in the percussion area, and radiographically we cannot appreciate the percussion involvement. Only there is a slight bone loss in the percussion area. Periodontal probe will detect the root outline, or it may sink into a shallow V-shaped notch in the crestal area. So this is the most important thing. You can appreciate a notch in the percussion area using the neighbor's probe. In grade 2 percussion, it is a pattern percussion. The bone is destroyed in one or more aspects of the percussion. Here, the most important point here is cul-de-sac lesion. What is cul-de-sac? Cul-de-sac means partially penetrating, which means when you probe in that percussion area, the probe enters only partially. The bone loss is only on one side. The probe enters on the bone loss side, but it cannot move through and through in the percussion area. This is called as grade 2 percussion. Radiographically, it may or may not reveal the type of percussion. And grade 3 percussion is a through and through communicating percussion. Here, completely the probe moves from one side to another side. Radiographically, we can appreciate the movement of the probe from one side to another side. But clinically, the soft tissue covers the percussion area and it seems to be normal. This is called as grade 3 percussion area. This is the through and through percussion area, which is radiographically visible, but clinically it is covered by the soft tissue. In grade 4 percussion, as in the case of class 3, here also the probe goes through and through, but it is clearly visible even by the naked eyes. This is the grade 4 percussion area. There is a precision in that area, so we can clearly see the percussion from one side to another side. This is the advanced percussion involvement. Now let us see the treatment options for this percussion involvement. What could be the treatment options? The main objective is elimination of the microbial block from the exposed surfaces of the root complex. In order to eliminate the microbial block, we have to make the percussion area easily accessible, and it is a self-cleansable area. So we have to maintain the hygiene in that area. So how to maintain the oral hygiene in that area? We have to either establish the anatomy of the affected surface, or we have to make it easy for self-cleansing. This is the objective of treating the percussion involvement. This is a flow chart indicating the different treatment options available for different levels of percussion. In grade 1 percussion, that can be managed mainly by non-surgical therapy like scaling, root planing, percussion plasty. Plasty is nothing but it is the reshaping of the percussion area in order to make that area self-cleansing. And grade 2 percussion, you can go with percussion plasty, tunnel preparation, and root surgical resection, GTR, guided tissue regenerations. And in grade 3 percussion, it is the advanced percussion. We can either try the earlier options or we can go with tooth extractions. What is non-surgical root preparation? Non-surgical root preparation includes scaling and root planing. It is the most effective treatment in the initial lesions, mainly in the grade 1 lesion or in the shallow grade 2 percussion involvement. Deeper sites responds less favorably with this non-surgical preparation. In case of deeper sites, we have to go with advanced procedures. So for the initial treatment, non-surgical root preparation is the best thing. In most situations, it results in the resolution of the inflammatory lesion. When the lesion is initial, we go with non-surgical root preparation and the resolution of the inflammation is very good. With antimicrobials, what are the antimicrobials that can be used in the percussion involvement? We can use chlorhexidine or any local drug therapy like tetracycline fibers. This can be used mainly in the initial lesions. No clinically significant differences is seen after oral irrigation, or in case of advanced lesions, we cannot use only this antimicrobials. We have to move upon with the surgical procedures. First, let us see about the open debridement. In case of calculus embedded in the narrow furcations or in the root fornix, how to remove the calculus? Can we remove it by the closed method? No. In such cases, we have to go with the open debridement. So, greater calculus removal is obtained by this open debridement. Surgical access is very good in the open debridement. We open the flap, see the calculus, remove it. It increases the operator's experience. It enhances the calculus removal in the furcation area. This is the advantage of open debridement. In this picture, we can appreciate the flap reflection, calculus removal, followed by suturing placement, and the furcation area is managed. Osseous surgery. Osseous surgery mainly involves two main techniques. That is the osteoplasty, reshaping the bone, and ostectomy, removal of the bone. These are the two techniques of osseous surgery. This technique is most effective in grade 2 furcation. This removes any lip of the defect seen in the horizontal depth. This reduces the defect. It makes the bone ramping procedure so that the furcation can be changed into a self-cleansable area. It reduces the probing depth. It maintains the oral hygiene in that area. So that is the goal of the osseous surgery. Next, moving on to root resection. This can be carried out from grade 2 to grade 4, but mainly we consider this root resection in grade 3 and grade 4 furcations. There are some contraindications for this root resection. What are they? When there is inadequate bone support, when there is fused roots, when it is inoperable endodontically. In case of patient considerations, we cannot use this root resections. Certain factors to be considered before resecting the root. What are they? The length of the root trunk, divergence between the root cones, length and shape of the root cones, fusion between the root cones, amount of remaining supporting bone around the individual roots, stability of the individual roots, access for oral hygiene devices. So these are the factors very important to be considered before doing a root resection. Root resection is you are removing a bone, removing a root which is hindering the area to be clean. So you are removing the bone, you are making the furcation easily accessible for the flow control devices, you are making it self-cleansable. That is the aim of the root resection. Now moving on to hemisection. Hemisection is practiced mainly in mandibular molars. It is done in grade 3 furcation. So we need widely separated roots so that it can be separated and removed easily. Soft tissue position below the level of the pulp chamber. Here we can see the hemisectioned root. A section of the root is resected and along with the crown it is removed. That is called as hemisection, followed by the prosthetic replacement. We have to appreciate the difference between root resection and hemisection here. In root resection, we are not removing any crown portion, but in hemisection, we are removing the root along with the crown, and then followed by that, we are giving the prosthetic replacement. That is called as hemisection. Hemisection can be done only in the mandibular molars with the widely placed roots. Root separation. This involves the sectioning of the root complex and maintaining all the roots. In root resection, you are removing the root. In hemisection, you are removing the root. But in root separation, you are just separating the roots. This is for maintenance of the roots, followed by prosthetic replacement. Now we are moving to the regeneration techniques of furcation. The main foremost technique is the guided tissue regeneration. This gives a predictable outcome in cases of grade 1 or 2 percussion involvement in the mandibular molars, mainly in the isolated lesions. In such conditions, this gives a good outcome, but less favorable results have been reported in advanced percussion defects. In the picture, you can see the flap is reflected, GTR is placed, and then it is closed and sutured. This is the clinical picture which depicts the GTR placement around the percussion area. In the picture B, osseous grafting. This is the another regenerative procedure. We can use osseous bone graft, allografts like freeze-dried bone graft or demineralized freeze-dried bone, alloplas like hydroxyapatite, non-porous and porous bones, or bioglass. The last treatment option is extraction. So in case of tooth with poor prognosis, in case where the percussion involvement cannot be managed, it is better to remove the tooth than to maintain it. So attachment loss is so extensive that no root can be maintained if tooth gingival anatomy will not allow proper block control, or in case endodontic and restorative conditions cannot be maintained, or there is osseointegrated implant substitute available. In such cases, we can go with extraction. So what could be the prognosis? Prognosis is the prediction of the duration, course and outcome of the disease based on the risk factors and pathogenesis of the disease. So we are determining the prognosis of percussion involvement based on the diagnosis. When we do diagnosis at the earlier stage, the prognosis is good. Selection of the patients, mainly the age of the patients. Excellent non-surgical phase. When the non-surgical phase is excellent, prognosis is good. Careful surgical restorative phase. This increases the prognosis of the tooth. So to conclude, the successful management of the periodontal destruction in the percussion area requires the comprehensive understanding of the difficulties in instrumentation of the area, as well as in keeping the area free of plaque. These are the main things we have to keep in mind before doing any procedure in the percussion area. Thank you.